Hey guys, it's Rodimus Primal. I'm back with another video, and today I am covering a topic that's as vast as the universe itself. Or several Transformers universes, for that matter. With Transformers The Last Knight coming out soon, and its possible take on the origin of the Transformers, I thought it was a perfect time to cover this expansive topic. When we are first introduced to the Transformers, in any continuity, we know that they are an alien race from the planet Cybertron, with the ability to transform into other forms. Their planetary civil war pits two factions, the Autobots and the Decepticons, against each other, and their battle now spills onto our world. However, their origins as a race vary with all the various Transformers series out there, even if most of them connect. The first glimpse we get into their origin comes from the Creation Matrix in the early issues of the original Marvel Comics written by Bob Budiansky. Hasbro decided initially that there were to be no female Transformers. The Matrix was designed as a method for Transformers to create new characters, which is how Jetfire and the Constructicons came to life. Our next look into their origin was in the cartoon's episode, The Key to Vector Sigma. In the two-part episode, Megatron creates the Stunticons, a team of destructive car Decepticons. He uses the key to activate Vector Sigma, the supercomputer that gives all Transformers life,
before Cybertron was, I was.
Which does so for the Stunticons, who can also merge to form Menasor.
Behold, Menasor!
The Autobots then use Vector Sigma to give life to the Aerialbots, a team of Autobot jets
Jumping jet streams!
who can also merge to form Superion. In the cartoon, the Matrix was introduced in the original 1986 movie as a physical talisman, where the life force of a dying Autobot leader would become one with the Matrix and pass it on to the next leader. It was also the one thing that could destroy Unicron, a giant planet that could transform, whom attacked Cybertron in the climax of the film. At the end, Hot Rod became Rodimus Prime and opened the Matrix and destroyed Unicron. In the third season of the cartoon, Rodimus Prime enters the Matrix in 5 Faces of Darkness and dives into the history of Cybertron. We are given the first origin of the Transformers presented by the previous leaders of the Autobots. At Cybertron's beginnings, the planet was used as a factory for the Quintessons to forge new Cybertronians as consumer goods, who would later be called the Autobots, and military hardware, who became the Decepticons. The Quintessons were introduced on their home world of Quintessa in the 1986 movie.
Guilty or innocent? Innocent.
However, in the ancient past, they were the slave masters of both the Autobots and the Decepticons. We learn in the episode Forever is a Long Time Coming that the slaves would eventually be led by A3, whom later went by the name Alpha Trion, and rebelled against the Quintessons and brought peace to Cybertron. That peace would be ended when the Decepticons rose up and started a civil war for conquest. The Autobots would, after some time, win until Megatron was born. He started the war up again until he killed Orion Pax, who became Optimus Prime. Throughout Season 3, the Quintessons became another villain for the Autobots to face, in addition to the Decepticons, as the Autobots had full control over Cybertron by that point. The giant planet Unicron was given a haphazard origin in the episode Call of the Primitives. In this episode, it is stated by Primacron's assistant that Primacron, an intelligent but knuckle-headed scientist, created Unicron, but he rebelled. Unfortunately, this does not explain his connections to the Matrix of Leadership, and only opens up more questions than before. However, in the comics, Simon Furman, who was the writer for the UK-only stories, and later became the head writer for the US comics as well, took the concepts introduced in the movie and expanded upon them. First, he changed the Matrix from the earlier stories to match up with the physical talisman shown in the movie. Instead of Vector Sigma, he created the concept of Primus, the creator god of all Transformers, who makes up the core of Cybertron. The story goes that the sentient core of the universe, the One, or God if you believe in it, created Unicron to explore the universe. However, Unicron instead began to destroy all in his path, so the One split Unicron in two, creating a being of order known as Primus. They were both multiversal singularities. Unicron would exist in one universe at a time, while Primus existed in all universes at once. The two battled each other until Primus trapped the two of them within planetary asteroids. Unicron learned to reshape his prison into a metal planet which would become his body, making him the first Transformer. Primus followed suit, turning the planet he was on into a metal planet we now know as Cybertron, in which he was the core. Instead of becoming a transforming body like Unicron, he created life from his own essence and birthed the first 13 original Transformers. He gifted their leader Prima the Matrix of Leadership, which held within it the essence of Primus, giving it the reason for why it could destroy Unicron. The 13 were given the task to battle Unicron, and their descendants became the race of Transformers that we know of today. This concept has changed over time and has been expanded upon, the details of which is a discussion for another day. The live-action movies have brought their own take on the origin of the Transformers, with things like the Allspark, their own version of the Matrix of Leadership, and of the creators, which from the look of it are the Quintessons. I'm eager to see where they take the mythos despite my personal feelings of the possibilities within the movies. From what we know of the two original origins presented in G1, both are considered canon to their respective universes. At one point, Hasbro decreed that all universes follow the concept that the core of Cybertron is Primus, and that the original 13 are canon in all universes. But how would this work? How can the origins presented in the cartoon fit with the origins now considered standard from the comics? Some attempts at reconciling this came from the Japanese continuity, as well as 3H BotCon comics. Concepts introduced in the Beast Wars and Beast Machines cartoons, such as Sparks and Stasis Lock, were also retconned back into G1 cartoon continuity as well. This in a lot of ways fixes some continuity errors, but still leaves some questions. Taking all of those sources into account, this is how I see it. After trapping Unicron into a planetary asteroid, Primus is trapped inside a planet full of animal life. Unfortunately, doing so ended life on this world. This would explain why Nightscream in Beast Machines was able to acquire a beast mode. His core became Vector Sigma, and the planet was reformed into Cybertron. The asteroid in which Unicron was trapped was experimented on by Primacron, who unknowingly gave Unicron the transforming body he needed to consume the universe. Primus then creates the 13 to battle Unicron. The Quintessons are created by Unicron to find Primus and report back to him. Instead, they made experiments on Cybertron and enslaved the original 13. Building factories to mass produce them, the 13 were used as templates for new bodies and were given life through Vector Sigma. The product lines created a great profit to the Quintessons over the course of 1,000,000 years. The Cybertronians eventually rebelled and exiled the Quintessons, reclaiming Cybertron. The Matrix of Leadership is still a conduit to Primus, and is still passed on to new Autobot leaders, while holding the wisdom of previous ones. The rest is history. Now mind you that this version of the origin of the Transformers does take some liberties. However, I believe that it works the concept of Primus and the Quintessons together quite nicely. While eventually we might look at some of other oddities such as Primacron, or the inclusion of female Transformers, This is probably the best way to reconcile the original G1 cartoon continuity into the multiverse.
But what do you think? How do you view the origin of the Transformers? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. And if you like this video, be sure to thumbs up and subscribe. I have more videos like this coming soon, so stay tuned. And as always, until next time.
When do we get to try our stuff? Soon. Very soon.